I had questions, but I didn't know who to turn to, and no one seemed to have any answers. I didn't want to talk to Dad, because I knew it would hurt him, and because he's sometimes opinionated on subjects that he knows nothing about. But he was retired, and on occasion he helps me with projects I was doing to get through school, so he was available.
Something bothering you?
Remember Ryan?
Yeah. How's he doing?
He left the church.
Really? What happened?
I don't know. He, a little while back, he got caught up, in some websites that just threw him off.
Pornography?
No. Websites, dealing with the church, like Joseph Smith and stuff.
Let's take a break. These videos he watched, they weren't produced by the church, were they?
No, they weren't.
Did you watch any?
I don't know, I thought I could help and kind of understand where he was coming from, so yeah, I've watched him.
I tried to bring this up in Sunday school to get some answers for Ryan, but the teacher seemed a little disturbed by my questions, and someone just suggested I speak to the bishop about it. So I tried talking to my bishop, but he didn't know anything about these things. And since I was the elders quorum president, I was sure that the bishop would mention my concerns to the stake president, and that I'd be getting a lecture about the Articles of Faith or something.
What did you think?
Honestly, it actually seems pretty compelling. And really, I've just been feeling that it feels like we've been lied to.
I see.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I did the scouting thing, I did seminary, went on a mission, go to institute classes. I hustled to get to these devotionals, and I've never, ever heard any of these things brought up before. So it just feels like, I don't know, it feels like they're withholding stuff from us, and just don't know who I can trust. And I'm sorry, and I've tried to get over it, with praying and reading scriptures and going to the temple, all that, listening to the Spirit. It just doesn't, I just can't trust it like I used to, And, I don't know, I'd just really like some answers.
Have you talked to Jessica about this?
No. She'd freak out if I told her.
I'd answered lots of questions about the church when I was a missionary, so had Ryan. I'd had to explain the usual things, blacks in the priesthood, polygamy, and some questions I just put on the shelf, like Joseph Smith's plural wives. But these new questions, like about the Book of Abraham, were so much harder to answer. And when I tried putting these questions on the shelf, it all came crashing down.
So yeah, I feel like one side is super aggressive on making their point, and the people that you would think would care about it, you just get silence.
Well, there's always more than one side to an argument. I have this friend in the ward. Remember Todd Mortensen? Best scholar on the scriptures I know, especially the Book of Abraham. Would you like to talk to him?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be good. Thanks, Dad. Seriously. Yeah, it's kind of hard talking about this, and it's good having someone you can talk to, and I've just felt really alone, and so thank you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. But you know, you really ought to talk to your wife.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, now come on, give her more credit than that. It'll do you good to talk to her. It's tough to feel alone.
It took me several days to decide how to tell Jess. I knew I had to, and that I had to tell her everything. I just didn't want to.
There you go. Oh! Can you fix his legs? There you go. And your other friend. Perfect. Okay, time for sleeps. Ready for sleeps? Good night. Good night, sweet dreams. See you in a little bit.
Hey, Jess? Want to sit for a bit?
Yeah.
So you remember Ryan?
Ryan. Left the church, got kicked out of BYU. Yeah?
Well, didn't really get kicked out, but anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah. So, I've been trying to talk to him more and reach out to him, and he actually showed me some stuff about the church and about Joseph Smith and the Book of Abraham.
Okay.
And it's actually pretty compelling stuff. It's convincing, like it's convincing against the church.
You're not having doubts about the church, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know, actually. I don't even know what that means, but I feel like I just want some answers, right? Like I feel like I haven't felt anything at church for a really long time, and I just get super annoyed when people just talk and they don't have any idea what they're talking about.
So, how long has this been bothering you?
Maybe 6 months.
6 months. You never told me? Why did you keep this from me?
I don't know. I thought I'd get over it. Like I thought it was like my mission, like that it was just propaganda or something.
But you didn't get over it, did you?
No.
And you kept it from me for 6 months.
I should have told her earlier. The day after I talked to Jess, I tried to get an appointment with the scholar my dad knew, but he was out of town at some conference. So I emailed him, and he got back to me. He said go to a website. There was lots of stuff on the site. I plowed through it, and I called Ryan.
Hang on, guys. Justin, what's up?
Yo. Hey, I just found this website that I think you should check out. It's got some answers to the stuff we were talking about.
A Mormon site?
Kinda. I mean, it's by Mormon scholars.
Yeah. You're wasting your time. They're just gonna keep feeding you the party line.
Okay. Will you check it out?
Maybe. You know what? You remember that guy I was telling you about from Chicago, the scholar? I basically agree with him. I mean, you can't trust any of these so-called Mormon scholars. They're just gonna keep feeding you.
Okay, but so then where does that leave us? We can just listen to ex-Mormon and anti-Mormons as if they're not incredibly biased? Really? I mean, they're as antagonistic as you get.
Yeah, I agree they're antagonistic, but you can't trust pro-Mormon sites. They're all apologetics.
Fine, but in the spirit of intellectual honesty, we can afford to look at both sides. I looked at your stuff. I think you can take 10 minutes and look at mine.
Yeah, well, maybe. Anyway, text me the site. Maybe I'll take a look at it. Hey, did you talk to Jessica? You did. How'd that go?
It didn't go very well. She's not talking to me right now.
Tough. Dude, I'm glad I'm not married.
Yeah. I'm really glad you're not married either. And I'm really glad that I am married. So I just am an idiot. I shouldn't have kept her in the dark this long.
No, you shouldn't have. I agree. Hey man, I gotta go. We're gonna start the game. So, text me that site and, maybe I'll take a look at it. I'm not promising anything.
Okay, but, I mean, you did get me into all this, so I feel like you can take a little bit of time to look at this if I send it to you.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, gotta go.
All right, look at the site.
Always looking out for me, aren't you, Mom? Thanks, man.
Later, I stopped by Dad's house. He said he'd look through some of the stuff on the site his friend recommended. So you told Mom about all this yet?
I haven't told her. You okay if I do?
If you want. Though I already know what she'll say. She'll say that I'm like wasting time, that I should be like doing service or something instead of this.
From what I remember, your mother's usually right. She thinks everything comes down to a spiritual quest. She'll say this is a waste of time.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. It's like a waste of time. And actually, when you think about it, they're kind of right. Why are we wasting our time, right? Why should we have to spend our time searching for this stuff? Why hasn't anyone mentioned it before?
I don't think anyone's intentionally trying to keep things from us. To be perfectly honest with you, it's pretty boring. Look here, all these articles about the Book of Abraham, and only 9,500 people have taken the time to look at it.
Yeah, well, too bad for you. You already said you'd look at it with me, so you have to.
Yeah, I will. Boring as it is. Will be 9,502.
Thanks, Dad. Now you kind of feel like a traitor a little bit looking at all this stuff. Kind of feel like I've crossed over to the dark side.
You don't think you've crossed over to the dark side, do you?
Kinda. Look, I'm gonna show you a video. Some people talking about how they feel when they find out about some of this stuff.
All right.
So my point isn't to cast stones or dispersions on the church. I'm just trying to get you to think about what your loved one is going through right now. And I want you to think about what the gap is between what they were taught, what their understanding was growing up in the church, and then what they've recently discovered. The gap is huge, and it's very troubling and disturbing. So how do they feel when they discover all this? They feel stunned. They feel betrayed. They feel lied to. They feel like...
It was a couple of days before Dad and I visited the scholar in the ward.
Those videos are bothering me now.
On the website I told you about?
I didn't see any videos there, mostly papers. I tried reading some of them, but I'm no scholar.
Yeah, I showed him some of the videos that I'd seen. I mean, you can pretty much find them anywhere online.
I watched a bunch of them just to see what it was about. Most of them seemed kind of silly.
Yeah, but there are some that make good points, right? Like there's one on the Book of Abraham that's, I don't know, it seems like it makes a compelling argument.
And now I don't know what to think of the Book of Abraham. What do you think?
Well, let's take a look at one of the videos I told you about on that website.
If you're going to deal with the Book of Abraham, you both have to be a very good Egyptologist and a very good church historian. And anyone who's not both isn't really equipped to deal with the issues. And so you have all sorts of people who found someone who they think is credible and they parrot the information, they're well-intentioned, but they end up putting out things that aren't true. And I've talked with some of these people, some of them have changed things on their website and so on because they're honest, well-intentioned people. But there are good people who encounter these arguments and then they have a crisis of faith. And I talk with either them or their parents, their friends, their relatives, something like that. A couple of times a week, I'm learning about someone else who's struggling with the Book of Abraham. And it's why I've kind of given my life to this, because there are so many good folks who are prevented from finding the truth because they don't know where to find it. And I want to help them. And I find that once they realize that all of these arguments that seem so compelling are based on one or two assumptions that are demonstrably incorrect. And then we start to show them, especially that it's clear that Joseph Smith is not translating from the text around facsimile 1. That's the big issue for most of them. And when we can make it clear, and it is, historically it is clear that's not what he's translating from, then all of the other issues actually just vanish once you get rid of that assumption.
I'm beginning to understand. But it's complex.
But it's not really that complex.
To you.
Is it to you, Justin?
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I feel like you get like a smart group of people over here telling you one thing, and then you have like these scholars over here saying the total opposite, and everyone's saying you can't trust the other people, and I don't know. Obviously they can't all be right.
Well, that just means you're going to have to sort this through for yourself.
And keep studying.
Yeah. Study it out intellectually until you come to a point you think it's true, and then put it to a spiritual test. While you're doing this, though, you're going to have to set aside your false assumptions. You really must give up the false assumptions.
Yeah, but I feel like that highlights the problem, right? Like, you start giving up one thing, then you give up the next, and pretty soon, like, I'm afraid you're going to give up everything that you were ever taught about the church.
I think he's saying you'll have to give up some things.
Yeah. And then you find out what really matters. I've seen this happen over and over again. At first, someone starts to study church history, and it seems to pull them away. But as they keep studying, it actually draws them back again.
Okay. So how would you answer this then? Ryan says that he never felt closer to God and Christ than when he was on his way out of the church.
Well, I can't speak for Ryan, but maybe that was God reaching out to him in his time of need.
What does he think about God now?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just it. Like, he actually says he doesn't really think about God much anymore.
Maybe he quit searching too soon.
So I kept studying. And Dad did too. He watched more of the videos on the site this scholar recommended and actually started reading some of the articles.
Please bless Daddy.
Daddy.
With all his schoolwork.
Look.
And with all his problems.
Goblins.
In the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Good job. Okay, into bed. Good night. Sweet dreams. I love you. Mwah.
I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. I should have trusted you. I'm just really sorry.
And I'm sorry about the other night. I just... It hit me so suddenly. I didn't know. I had no idea you were having doubts about the church.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I believe you. But there's one thing that we need to get straight.
What?
From now on, we share our troubles. I mean, that's what couples with healthy relationships do, right?
Right. But are you sure you're ready
Justin!
to carry?
Yes. Yes. So just tell me where we start with these things about the church, okay?
Okay. So my dad's friend gave me a website that we could go look at. It's got some videos on it that I think can help us out.
Okay. But first I want to know what bothered you. Here, let's get the laundry in. Come on.
She wanted to know about all of it. The Book of Abraham, the various accounts of the first vision, the videos I'd seen, what I'd read. Everything.
Right.
Some are still legitimate.
Okay, but what exactly are these issues with the Book of Abraham?
You want me just tell you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, so they found the papyri and the facsimile for the Book of Abraham, and they say that it has nothing to do with Abraham.
What else?
You want me to just list them out, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Egyptologists say that they've looked at Joseph's translation of the facsimile and that he didn't get anything right. And they say that I guess he tried to create an Egyptian alphabet and he got everything wrong. And they date the papyri to 1,000 years after Abraham. And Joseph said it was written by the hand of Abraham. And essentially there's no corroborating evidence that for the Book of Abraham, and just all this evidence against it.
So what are you saying?
Well, I'm not saying anything, right? They're the ones saying it, but they say that this proves that, he's a false prophet, that he's a fraud.
Oh. That's poisonous.
I know. That's what I've been saying.
It makes me feel sick inside.
It bothered her in ways that I hadn't expected. She started losing sleep over it, and losing her appetite. She asked what it would mean for our sealing if it wasn't true, what it would mean for our family. We kept looking at things, and things were starting to make sense to me and to my dad, too. But Jessica felt things more globally. That's a good question. You know what I think? I think we just have to take one issue at a time. Work each one out. Because I feel like if we try to take on all the challenges at once, it's gonna bury us.
But we have to deal with the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like we can work one part of the whole at a time.
Just makes me feel so sick.
We kept watching videos and studying. I'd been wrong about a lot of things. I had to give up a lot of naive assumptions. But finally, I found enough answers that there was room for faith. I could pray about it again in a new way. I still didn't know for sure, but I knew I could choose to believe. I felt my faith growing, and so did Jessica.
If there is a God, which I believe there is, if he wanted to prove it, he could, right?
Yeah. Also, either there isn't a God, or he just doesn't want to prove it. He wants us to weigh our options and then decide.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I actually found something earlier today that I meant to show you. It's awesome. It's from this scholar, this LDS scholar who's published a ton. He's been published by like Oxford Press, and I feel like he says, like, yeah, he's right in line with what you're saying. Let me look it up here. I'll show it to you.
I knew I couldn't prove things one way or the other, but I did feel intellectually freed up enough to test things spiritually in my life. And another thing, I felt closer to Jess. She was more determined to see things through than I had ever thought she'd be.
I'm just glad we don't have to go through this alone.
The God of Joseph Smith was not a threat to human potential, but a being who gloried in that potential and whose work was to bring it to fruition. That was why Joseph's message resonated and caught hold like a burning fire. But his message also flamed forth because millions of men and women have freely chosen to believe. They essayed the opinions of doubters, and they gave a hearing to the critics. Like Brigham Young, they knew Joseph was a human and subject to error, but they sampled his words and agreed they tasted like honey. They weighed the beauty of a God and of human origins and a human future unlike anything before imagined. They found reason to doubt, and they found reason to believe. They chose to believe.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching our Mormon Challenges video. Thanks for caring. And thanks to all of you who have shared your experiences facing these challenges. We've written a number of your lines into the scripts themselves. Check out Carrie Muhlstein's continuation of the Book of Abraham challenges, and take a look at our website where we're posting these videos. Please share your comments, especially your video comments. And don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. When you subscribe, you'll be notified about the new Mormon challenges as they're completed. And let your friends know about these challenges. If you do, we can work on them together. Remember, facing challenges together is how we grow.